I was saying, you were asking me if you want to play basketball.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know how, this is going to come off so weirdly now. I don't even know if it was worth starting it this early. So we're live now, by the way. We're on. Okay. Ian, welcome.
How good's that?
Yeah, we're in. And you know what's a really sort of shit thing that happens to me is the fact that I hate starting the show, but because I played footy.
Yeah.
People sort of assume, you played footy.
Yeah.
Not that you're very good, but you got to the highest level.
Yeah.
Congratulations. They think that that just correlates into every other sport. And Darcy invited me recently to go play basketball with him and his cousins.
Yeah.
And I couldn't fucking dribble the ball, man. Like, it was so much harder than it's a total different thing. So I'm just saying it's actually quite hard.
Actually,
I shot bricks. I was shooting bricks. I had I was shooting at about 3%. I had a lot of shots. Everyone was sort of building me up and they kept wanting me to shoot. And then after that, the confidence went really low and I ended up hitting a couple, but it was good fun.
How many shots were you putting up though?
How many
shots did he put up?
I reckon he has too many. We lost the game as well. And
What was the score?
Definitely my point.
What was the score?
No, let's not get into it.
We
lost by a couple of points.
So
Anyway, Vincent, welcome to the podcast, man. How are you?
Good.
I love the name Vincent, man.
Thank you. Yeah.
Where's that from?
It's it's Italian heritage.
Yes.
My name, Vincent.
Bellissimo.
Yes, sì.
Yeah.
It's actually my name. I'm actually named after my nonno, my grandpa.
Oh, beautiful.
His name was Vincenzo Adduci, and I'm Vincent Adduci. I got the B grade version. I didn't get Vincenzo. I got Vincent. So, but I'm happy with it. That's very
beautiful.
happy with it.
It's interesting I love names.
You've got a nice name as well, though. Dylan.
Yeah.
Dylan's nice.
I like my name. It's sort of one of those names that it's not. My fear is having a popular name. You know, when you're born, you have a popular name and then they sort of age.
What's a popular name though?
I don't want to say one now, man, because it's just you can't be doing that now.
Like Chris or something?
No, not like that. I mean a popular name. I'm not going to say one because it's obviously someone's name. But there's popular names at the time. You go, that's sick, and then probably a few years later you go, maybe that was just at the time that was a really cool name.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's sort of named like that. But I actually think Dylan now is a lot more of a female name.
Really?
A lot of young girls have been named Dylan, which is cool.
Yeah, I could say that.
Yeah, from Charlie's Angels.
Yes, beautiful.
And stuff.
Good show.
But yeah, Vincenzo. Just on quickly before we get into the show, this has been probably, congratulations, the worst start to a podcast ever. But that's it's got nothing to do with you. It's 100% to do with me. I've told a story about basketball and now a story about my wedding band that I'll just tell you quickly.
Yes,
is one of the most special things to me in my life. You're talking about your grandfather who you're named after. One of the most special things to me is my grandfather. This is his wedding band.
Oh, cool.
So he passed away when I was about 3 years old. And then when my nan passed away a couple of years ago, she gave me this. This is the only thing she left to anyone. Cool. We have a lot of kids in the family and she only left one thing and it was this ring to me. So then when I got married, I got to wear it. So it's just
So obviously you're the favourite then.
Basically. I didn't want to say that, but yeah, 100%. I am.
That's so cool. That's so nice.
So it's a nice thing. But it's one of those things that's worth literally if you sold it on value, it'd be worth 20 cents. Yeah. But to me, it's priceless.
It means a lot.
So yeah, it's been scary. It's one of those things you just don't want to lose.
And recently?
No, I've been married for about nearly 12 months.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. So we had a very, very small wedding. Very small wedding. Hey, mate, how are you? What's going on?
Good. Helping out everyone, trying to help out.
You are, man.
Trying to help out. I know we've got a sale coming up, which is really exciting. And yeah, just working really hard, trying to make it.
Yeah, you are, man.
Trying to do my best here in Melbourne. But yeah, it's I'm super excited to be here and super grateful to be given this opportunity. It's kudos to you. You've created a beautiful space, beautiful platform to allow creatives and other people to share their stories. So you should be really, really proud of yourself.
I appreciate that, mate. And our friendship, I hope I can call it that.
Of course you can.
Thank you. Is it's quite a fresh one. It's. I used to sort of start the show like this, but I'd say how did we meet? I'm trying to think how we actually did meet.
I know, it's actually interesting. I don't even know you said
either.
That before and I was like, I don't even remember how we met.
Yeah, sort
of. Do you know
weird
what though? I remember I reckon it was a couple of years ago, we had a Yochi event.
Yes.
And I remember you came on your moped. Yeah. You were going for grilled.
Yeah.
And you just stopped in and we're like, this is crazy. This guy's the best guy.
Yeah, I do remember that because we'd been chatting before and a bit through Instagram and stuff. And I just love the brand. I remember I'm wearing one of your vests today, actually. I love your vests. Unbelievable. But you had this first drop of your brand, which, we'll talk about very soon, but it's captivated Melbourne and Australia now, I'm sure, but especially Melbourne. anyone would know your brand Push Pull, which is incredible. Credit to yourself. But anyway, you had this brand, and I was like, I fucking love this vest. And like, I was more like, I'd had my own brand at that stage, being Dyl Friends, not like a clothing brand, but I just knew how much that meant to people. But I actually just genuinely loved it. Bought the vest, and then I was steaming around, saw this event, came in, met you guys, and you had this. It was that one of your first events you guys had?
So I don't know if you want me to dive into like how the brand started. Like we've done a little. So yeah, like
let's go into that. Talk us through what Push Pull is and where it started.
Yeah, so I guess 2019, there was a group of boys that started Push Pull as it was, and Push Pull actually started off as like a vintage, clothing sort of label where we would resell clothes, like vintage clothes and sneakers and stuff like that. So from there, we would do Campbell markets and vintage markets. So that's how we sort of started. And from there, I guess we created like a really cool community, cult following from the early stages. And then, COVID hit, and then trying to find vintage pieces was super hard. Sneakers as well was really hard to source. So there we decided to actually start producing our own clothes. And I guess we're kind of lucky in the sense that we'd gone and done our due diligence to create this little community that we sort of knew that they would purchase our clothes. So then from there, I guess that's where Push Pull was really birthed from. The streetwear sort of, our own clothing, streetwear sort of style of things sort of originated during the time of COVID. And, obviously COVID was a super sad and, frowned upon thing and, associated with negativity. But however, I guess we sort of use it as a vehicle to help our brand and sort of shed light and positivity where I guess it was pretty bleak in the world at that time. And from there, I guess we've just created this really beautiful organic community that I'm super proud of, and everyone that works at Push Pull at the moment is super, super proud of as well.
Yeah, man. You put it up beautifully. I think that's great. I didn't know that it was a vintage thing beforehand. I just sort of knew it as a brand as it was. And it's interesting that point about COVID. Like we said, don't really talk about it too much anymore. I think it's coming back, but let's hope it isn't. But the factor around like the amount of people you speak to around that post-traumatic stress versus post-traumatic growth, and it's like sometimes it's situations like that, how much is like a shit situation at first, it pushes you in a different direction to go another way. Again, just it's so obvious, but it's just another factor of what happened with you guys. Like similar a little bit today, like the reason I wanted to get you on the pod is one, just love what you guys do, love the community. There's so many crossovers, I think, of our beliefs and everything we do that we agree on, and we'll get into the stuff that we're working on a little bit together with, whether that's supporting each other through podcast stuff. You have been massive influence on me in helping support around the more greens stuff that I'm trying to like get off the ground as well, which we just had a bit of a chat about before. Yeah. And then also just the community stuff that we both love and how much we appreciate our communities and building that. And I don't think like you can't go into something thinking you're going to build a community. It just like sort of happens. I don't even know how it happens. Like I think if you pretend you know how that works, it's a lie. Like,
yeah, I totally agree with you. And I think the word community actually gets thrown around a lot though. So many organizations and brands and people, throw around that word community, but like what is community? Like, do you know what I mean? And I think like what we've really stemmed it down to is like our values in the team at Push Pull. And, the values really derive from our own past experiences. And that's something that I've really learned is that everyone goes through things and everyone's got shit. Am I allowed to swear?
Yeah. No, mate, we swear all the time, man. We're cool as on this show. We are super cool. We get a lot of people saying, like, you don't have to swear. And it's like, I actually don't go in intentionally trying to swear, but it just happens. It happens. So fucking passionate about this.
Fuck yeah. But no, so the word community.
Yes.
And like how people can throw around. I'm talking about like values and how I was talking about how everyone goes through things. And I believe that like from me and my learning is that like I've gone through things that have allowed me to get to my spot right now, sitting here right now.
Yep.
And I believe that everything sort of happens for a reason. And the more that someone can see a situation and almost take a step back and try to reflect on why that's happening, there's room for growth in that. And then trying to tie that back in, I guess the people that have been on the journey have all been through certain things and through their lives that have allowed them to create values in which we're trying to ignite or, pass on to the people buying our stuffs. So we try to condone more our beliefs in what we're trying to promote through our clothing. So what I try to mean by that is like our clothing almost comes secondary towards like what we're trying to do. And we're trying to create positivity within, our environment. We're trying to be, I wouldn't say the word pioneers, but we're trying to be people who, shed light on that people can go through different paths. And there's a lot of things and expectations that I feel like here in Melbourne are put upon us. We're in a privileged country, and there's these expectations of having that dream car or that dream job. And for me, for my sake, like I've taken the weirdest path to get where I am right now. And in saying that, that's another value of push-pull, is trying to shed light that you can take so many different paths to get to where you want to get to. And a massive driving factor towards that is passion. And I'm super passionate about what I love to do. I'm a really passionate person. I wear my heart on my sleeve. At times it can come across as like a bit of a hothead, a bit, a bit crazy. But I guess there's some of the values that I just touched on that I sort of have allowed to create a community of people who might be going through similar things. And that's, in my weird way, how I see community, I guess. Yeah. I don't know if that makes any sense.
It does. I don't know. This sort of sounds like a discussion that you have around a sort of out the back of a party at 4 a.m. after a few. But I've got a really weird thought of this, and I had this chat, funnily enough, in that situation, and someone blew my mind with this, and I don't know if this makes sense to anyone at all, but with community, you think about like back in the day, religion was like a really strong thing, which it is for a lot of people still to this day. But you grew up on Sunday, you go to church, that's your community, and you're there and you're part of something that's bigger than you. Now that, in my world, religion isn't something that I do on the weekends. It's not something that I'm a part of, but it's sort of broken, in my view, into little things where you attach yourself to certain things and you want to be a part of something that's there. So like for me, Dyl Friends, maybe that's a part of a community where someone goes like, all right, that's one of my little content community things. Push-pull, that's something that I want to get something out of. Playing golf, that's something that I want to get a part of. My local football or netball club, that's something I want to get a part of. And instead of having that one thing, you can choose. Yes. You can choose where you want to go to get your energy and get your community and have your support and learn 100%. Things and go from there. So it's actually a really interesting topic when you think about it, because you can think into your life and go like, what am I choosing to be a part of? Yes. And for a while, especially with we'll jump to this part now with what I love about you guys, and I heard you talking on a podcast recently about this, and you said you're talking about the difference between apparel and merchandise, which is really funny because for Dyl Friends, I do merchandise. Yeah. And when I see someone wear that, like that is honestly, like that's better than anything. Yeah. Like for someone to be walking around wearing something with your name on it, like it means more than you can even say without crying. It means incredible, man. Yeah. But for ages, I was always like, I don't want merchandise. I want to have apparel. I want to have a brand and stuff. And I was like, it flipped me quickly. I was like, merchandise is way better. Yeah. For someone to actually wear merch, like merchandise of a brand, whether that's Nike. Nike's merch. Yes. Really. 100%. Everything's merch.
Everything is. Yes.
It's all merch. It's not apparel. Is, so. Everything is merch that you wear.
But that's what ties it back to is like you almost buy into something. Like, you're talking about like the different parts of like a community, like you buy into that merchandise because you might see like LeBron James wearing it. Yeah. Like you're not just buying it because of Nike, you're buying it because of like you relate to something. Yeah. And that's like what you're talking about, and like tying it back into like what I do is like, I feel like we've been able to grow and hopefully continue to grow is because we're trying to be as transparent and relatable. We're not trying to be fake in the sense of the times of where there's so much social media and so many things that like you're led to believe you need and need to look like and stuff like that. We just try to strip it down as basic as like how we would do something. Like we're just young guys, we just want to have fun.
Yeah, and to be transparent as well with this, which even if you have questions of me today or I have millions of you, but like and I'm meaning this in a good way, like you three in the business at the moment, yourself, George and Ed, like you have no skills in this like field, do you?
No.
And I'm meaning that in like the
zero.
Like, you are completely unqualified for what you're doing, as am I.
Yeah.
Like I have no fucking idea, and I think people know that, to be honest. But there's no qualifications whatsoever that have happened to this, and I think that's a beautiful message too. Like yourself, who played some VFL footy, which we'll get into that story later. I've no fucking idea what George did. Ed played for St Kilda as well.
Yeah.
A bit with Box Hill Hawks. I think that's where you guys
met. Where we met.
But I think that's another cool message. And again, you've sort of said it with holistically. Don't think about this as push pull and Dyl Friends or anything else today. Think of this of like if you want to build something.
Yeah, 100%.
If you're listening and you're thinking about fuck, I want to do this, I want to do that.
Yeah.
These are some pretty candidates here, especially you three, like that you've been able to do this and. Yeah, but I'm really skilled. and you haven't had much. You've just gone out and done it, really.
100%.
Practiced and just made mistakes.
I can further shed a bit of light on that. Like, I know I finished school.
Where'd you go to school?
St. Kevin's.
St. Kevsies.
So, yeah, did my full tenor there. I don't know if that's even a saying.
I'm sure it is.
We'll run with it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so went to school there, finished school, went to schoolies, came back, and I'm going, what the fuck am I doing with my life? Like, I come from like an Italian background. They're really, my parents and my family have been super supportive to me. Like, family is one of my massive values as well. And they've supported me. They've put me through a really good school, and they've been raised to, you need to go to university now, and you need to almost get this job, and but it's not their way of thinking wasn't wrong. It's only the way that they've been taught, if that makes sense. Which I'd never, I'm never angry at the way they try to raise me, because that's the way that they've been taught. But the times do change, and that's something that is really interesting. Is people who are brought up in a certain way and they're not used to times changing. It's also on us to also educate them. Sometimes we're like, oh, why don't you get this? It should just be like this because we're in this certain time era or period. We also need to educate, and that's something that I know for me, I never really educated my parents on. But anyway, going through that.
That's a really common thing though, isn't it? For a lot of people, especially in the entrepreneurial world. I speak for myself. I come from quite a opposite in that my family sort of were too. I think they believed in me too much, sort of thing. Like I think they just thought I'd work it out. But for a lot of people, it's really hard for that parents going, we want to push you down this way, push you versus the other way. So how did those conversations go?
It was hard. Yeah. Like there was a time periods there where I was like I'm someone as well as like if I get told to do something, I'll do the opposite. Like I need to learn myself. I'm very hands-on. Like if someone says don't touch the hot boiling kettle, I'm going to touch it. Yeah. Because I don't know, that's just who I am, and I need to figure it out for myself. And that's something I guess like that I struggled with in the early days. However, like, once I sort of decided to rip the Band-Aid off and actually show some initiative, and, I went out there, and this is how I got into push-pull was I went out, I didn't have a lot of money, and I brought a screen printing silk press and started screen printing T-shirts and tote bags. And, that's how I started. Like I just went out there, had a couple $100, brought something, learnt myself, did it, and from there, like I'm sitting here now because like that's just who I am. I've worked really hard. I have to do things myself, and that's the way I learn. And I think by doing that, I've almost educated like my family. Like that's who I am, and I think they realize that, and they're super proud of me. And in saying that, I'm not ever ungrateful for the way I've been raised, because I'm super grateful like for my heritage, my background, everything that my parents and family have done for me to even get me into, a really good school and all these opportunities with football and driving me here and there. Like I'm beyond grateful, but it was just an interesting combination of like, like I just didn't know what I wanted to do. But I knew there was something out there for me. I just knew it. But that's sort of hard to like tell your parents, like just let me do my thing and I'll find it and I'll figure it out. And I don't think they ever got that. They're like, oh, do this course now, do that course. And I'd go there and I'd sit in these courses and I'd be like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
I don't like, I've done like 3 courses and I just would sit there just to almost appease. my parents, because, you know, like that's how I've been raised, to show respect.
Yep.
And, you know, then from there, I guess, like I had enough, ripped the Band-Aid off, brought a screen printing silk press, and the rest is sort of history.
How weird, like, and again, I don't have any children as yet, but I want to, one part maybe of reverse advice that I would give to anyone out there that had kids, and tell me if you agree with this or not,
Yep.
but like, I think the best lesson you can give your kids is just to like make mistakes and like make them fuck up as much as possible.
100%.
Like, rather than pushing them into certain things, you just got to let them learn.
100%. That's funny you say that. I don't know where I saw it. I don't know if it was on The Sopranos. Maybe it wasn't on The Sopranos.
Yeah.
Or it was on like a TikTok. I don't know where it was, but it was like, I don't want to, like, this person said he didn't want to push his children to do anything. He just wanted to hold his hand to where the child was taking him.
Yes.
And like just be there.
I like that, man. I got to get goosebumps with that one. No, and I bring up Joe Rogan a lot lately as well, weirdly, because I've been listening to a lot of his stuff, but he was saying the same thing, like around, at the moment, they reckon, you know, they talk about our ilk, like our age demographic,
Yes,
that we're sort of not as good as what the old generation was and stuff.
Yeah.
And they reckon it's a lot to do with we got like over-parented nearly.
Okay.
They didn't let like people make mistakes. I don't know why we're getting into parenting right now. We're both not parents. But anyway, it's interesting. Make mistakes.
Dude, it is super interesting. Like, it's like, well, also this opportunity as well. Like, I'm a person who's like, I'm very present. I sometimes struggle to like reflect. And like, even right now, I feel like it's like I'm feeling like I'm reflecting a lot more, which is something that like I feel like I need to do more. And yeah, it's like it's a I don't know, I feel very comfortable. I don't know.
That's good.
Right now, I just feel very comfortable. It's like, I don't even know why we're talking about this stuff, but like just reflecting on like stuff that has allowed me to get to where I'm sitting here right now.
Mate, it's a good process. Like, I don't know if anyone's still listening to this, but when you sometimes, like, I saw a really funny meme the other day, and it was like podcasting was invented for men to talk about their troubles with other men. And it's like, you know, we have to record it and let everyone else listen to it versus just doing it. Yeah. And I think for me, like, that's been the most beautiful part. It's like, I would never do this if I wasn't doing it for a job, you know? Like, I think about things, you learn from other people. Yeah. This is such an incredible experience. For me, just to pick your brain, learn about things, you know, learn about you, the way you've done things, all that sort of thing. But also for me to think back to other shit that I've done, how did it work, all those sorts of bits. So I honestly reckon, like, putting your phone down and just going and chatting with people, getting coffee, learning their story is the best advice I could give anyone, just to learn shit from other people.
100%.
It's there. Hey, let's a really interesting part of your story that, and we'll jump around a lot today that I want to get to, but around your footy stuff, I don't think we ever crossed paths playing. No, we didn't. But
I don't think we did. No,
I don't think so. I would have known. You probably would have been tagging me. Did you played a bit of, well, you played a lot of VFL footy.
Yeah, I played.
You had a chance to be rookied at Hawthorn.
Yeah, so.
What the hell happened with that, man? And that's so cool that you said, like, no.
Yeah. Yeah. So, so that happened this year as well. So I did the pre-season there with Hawks
this
at the start of the year.
Wow.
So, yeah, this year's been a roller coaster of emotions. Like, a lot of things have happened, and but straight out of school, like, you know,
was footy the dream at 18? Like, you get drafted?
Yes. Yeah. Like, under 16s, like, pretty handy footballer.
Yep.
Played TAC Cup for Oakley Chargers, and then for St. Kevin's.
Yep.
And then, you know, like, you're always been told, like, you're a good footballer and you should be drafted and all this. And then my top age year, I had stress fractures in my back and I was a little bit behind. And then I sort of just gave up, and I sort of just realised, like, I was so far off it in my top age year. And that was a hard thing to come to terms with. Like, you're like, oh, football, like, this is the dream, this is what I want to do. And I'm really struggling here in year 12. And even then, I didn't really have anyone to talk to about it. Like, it was really frowned upon, I guess, or not frowned upon, but I was scared of what my mates would think, like, if I went and spoke to someone, or, you know, like, it was a really hard time in my life, I reckon. But I wouldn't change it for the world, because, you know, it's gotten me, all these experiences have gotten me to where I am today. But yeah, so that sort of happened, and then went to schoolies, came back, and then I was trying to figure out what I was doing with my life, and I didn't know. And then Box Hill gave me a call up, and they said, "Come down. We're not going to guarantee your contract, but come down and train." And then I guess I just had a really good pre-season that first year, and ended up playing like 12 senior games my first year at Box Hill, which is pretty good. I was pretty happy about. And then from there, I guess I started that really, really special relationship with Box Hill, which I'm forever grateful for. And I've learned so much about myself being there, about, professionalism, team environment, how to deal with other people, being coached by the likes of like Chris Newman, Max Bailey, Sammy Mitchell, people you look up to who've played at the highest level. It was an amazing experience, and I always had that little slither of hope that I could get there. I always sort of knew deep down I was potentially good enough. And it wasn't really until Sam Mitchell came and coached me that he sort of really untapped like my potential and really saw something in me, and gave me the opportunity to come and do a pre-season at the start of this year, which was exciting. Yeah.
And what happened with that? Like, so how did that go? Sam Mitchell comes down to coach Box Hill to then, obviously take over as Hawks coach.
It was super exciting. Like, he was one of my favourite players growing up as well. So I don't know, like he was a fantastic coach. He really knew how to coach individual players. Like, he didn't just have a blanket rule for every player. Like, he knew how to get the best out of every player. And for me, like, I don't know if you know, but I actually suffer with anxiety. So I get real bad anxiety sometimes. And he just really knew how to strip footy back for me and just really get me in my happy spot, which was just playing instinctual, free-flowing football, and letting my instincts sort of take over. That's when I know I'm at my best, when I played footy. And, from there we created a really special relationship. And I think he saw something in me and wanted me to come down at the start of this year and have a run around, which is kind of exciting. It was like a lifelong dream to even be given that little bit of an opportunity. So,
huge. So was there like talks of getting rookied to Hawks? Like, was that on the table?
The year before that, so not this season gone, but the season before that, like mid-season draft, I was potentially going to get picked up. Missed out by one spot.
Wow.
So, which to the Hawks, which is kind of crazy. So they picked John Newcomb.
Yeah.
And what's his name? Callow, Jason Callow.
Yep.
They call him Buckets. And if he got picked up before, I was going to go then. So it's funny how the world works. It's really funny how the world works. And then, I sort of believe like that the spot was there for me. Like, I was the only person training, and everyone was saying like, you've got this. And but at that time I was really struggling. I got to where I wanted to get to in terms of my dream as a young kid. But I guess I was fighting this struggle of like, I think I've got a new dream.
Yeah.
And it was really hard because like, I didn't want to let those people down who had put so much time and effort into me to even get that opportunity to play at the highest level. But like, it was super hard. It was super hard because like, I was trying to juggle and I just couldn't juggle, and I didn't know which way to go, and I didn't know where to go. And in the end, like, I just decided to go with like my heart and my gut. And I knew like focusing on my work at push-pull was something that I really needed to do. So yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So what was that conversation like?
So at the time as well, Andy Collins was down there.
Yep.
So he was helping Sam when he was at the VFL as well.
Awesome guy, man, Andy Collins. When I got delisted from Carlton, I spoke to him about going to Williamstown.
Yeah.
He's such a good dude.
He's such a good dude. Yeah. He was he's someone who was a massive advocate for me as well and really helped me unlock my true potential as well. So I was really grateful for the time he put into me. But yeah, I felt a bit more comfortable talking to him than Sam because Sam was the head coach. I didn't feel like I could just, so I was liaising with him and I was like, I'm really struggling. Like, I think like my heart's in a different direction. And, we just spoke about it. And then he's like, it's probably best to give Sam a call. So I gave Sam a call and I just said like, this is where my heart's at. He's like, are you sure? And yeah, I just said my heart was in it and I gave everything and I tried my hardest. But like, I just knew like I was split and I needed to make a decision.
So cool. Well, it's not cool, the situation. Sorry. I was thinking it's so cool. Like that, how cool that you had a new dream that surpassed an old dream, that you were in this like crossroads of going like, any young guy or girl would kill to be on an AFL list, 100%. But to have an opportunity where you're like, fuck, I've actually got something else I'm keen on pursuing it's a cool problem to have.
Yeah, it was a really cool problem. And it's not to say like I'm better than the AFL or better than
that's similar to what you said. That sounds
it's not like that at all, but it's like, yeah, it's just like, I think I was doing it almost for the wrong reasons. I was trying to appease others rather than myself.
Yeah.
And I really had to look at myself in the mirror and go like, what are you doing, Vincent? And I was like, this is where my heart's at. And I just knew that I could leave a bigger impact on my environment doing what I'm doing at push ball.
Like as well, not to say that you couldn't have gone on and played 300 games and won premierships. But you could have. And like you definitely could have with everything. But also like when you see a future in something that's like, it's hard to not follow that path. Like,
100%.
And two parts in this. Let's see if I can remember them both. One was a pod that I've been referring to a lot lately. We went back and had a chat with Ali Tarai and Vin Jun, these guys that I'll give you the link that I did with them to have a listen to it. But he spoke about this thing called like recalibration in your life, and a lot of the things that we get when we hit 30, that age, you look back and you go like, all right, I've got my dream car, I've got my AFL career at Hawthorn, I've got my dream house, I'm living here, I've got my these sort of things, and you look back and people go, fuck, like, is this actually what I wanted? Because you're living a dream that you decided when you're 18.
Yeah.
And you get to that stage and you go, fuck me, like I've hit all my dreams, but I didn't recalibrate of actually in that time of getting to what I got, I've actually changed everything about myself. I no longer actually want to do this. My values are different. I don't want that car anymore. I'm more, I'm more into my mopeds. Like different sorts of things you don't realize. So that part of like recalibration and be able to identify that you're not just following, I don't want to say the rat race, but you're not just following a dream that you had when you were 16, 17, 18 versus think about actually what you like now. You might have gone into law and be like, fuck that, I'm actually more of a creative. Or you might have been doing creative and be like, you know what, I actually really like structure now. Let's change it and recalibrate because you can. You can pivot things so quickly.
That's like, you've hit the nail on the head there because legit though, because like that's also like a message I'd like to say as well, especially like kids coming out of school. You don't need to know what your future is. It's like, it's cool to have like an idea and it's good to be proactive and doing something, right? Like you don't want to just be sitting at home, but you don't need to know, like, because doors open, things happen.
When you push pull.
Yeah, correct. And like things happen and like experiences happen, and it's like if you're just set on one thing, you sometimes block yourself out from all these other things. Do you know what I mean? And that's something that I came to really appreciate and be grateful for as well, was like all these footballers as well are just normal guys. And that's something that I really took away from the experience is there's so many guys in there who have different aspirations and different things that they're doing and things like hobbies that they're really interested in. And from the outskirts, as someone who hasn't been inside the footballs, and I guess you'd probably know more than anyone, is like they're just normal guys and they're put on this like pedestal, and it's like I could only imagine how they'd feel at times to even be able to like express themselves or do something and not be scrutinized or judged for, trying something different or doing something. And that's what I like something that I was playing up in my head. I was like, it would be really fucking hard. Like I could only imagine like, I've only been here for like a couple of months. I could only imagine like the players who've been there for a long time, like your identity is football. And it's like, but in hindsight, like a lot of them have different identities that don't really get expressed, or they don't really get to their full potential of what their identity could be as well. And that's something that I took away from it, that like, I'm grateful that I can like say like I played football at a nice level, but I also have my other identity as well. And I hopefully they go hand in hand. And in saying that, they really have, because I see like all the football boys, they love like the stuff that I'm doing, and also in there, it's like a little community of people in the AFL wearing the stuff. And I guess from what we're talking about at the start, like I guess maybe they buy the stuff or like the stuff because, you know, they feel a part of that push pull, and it's a way maybe they can feel like they can express themselves or feel a part of that other identity as well. Maybe.
Yeah. I love what you're saying there and what we've just sort of been talking about as well. And so, how old are you now? 24.
24. Yeah.
24. So, like, already having those experiences at a young age. Like, that's really lucky. Like, mine didn't my first big learning probably didn't hit me till I was like 27.
Yeah.
So, like, to have that at that age is awesome. Some people might take even longer. Like, that's how it is. We're all on different times.
100%.
But one thing that's awesome is like, and even another part that Ali, who is he's like a unofficial mentor for me. He just like calls me just for like bits of wisdom sometimes. And he always says like, fail fast.
Yeah.
You know, like fail fast. You'd rather, and this is one thing that I've really, when you're talking about footy players, mate, athletes or anyone like that, they're just as shit scared as everyone of what's going on, if not more.
Yeah.
Because if you're, one thing I look at with my sort of career, failing fast at sort of 27, getting delisted and it gave me time to then work out what I wanted to do next. And like I still was young enough where you see these guys that I sometimes think, fuck me, man. If I'd have lasted 3 more years, that would have set me back so much longer.
Yeah.
Because then I didn't have all this other time to do all this other shit. I almost wish that, you know, I got delisted earlier because I would have been younger to like do. I don't, but but young age, when you got on your side, you've got that time to sort of experience and do those things. So failing fast, like getting in and knowing if it's not the right thing, you can pivot, you can move and do different stuff, which is really cool. And that's really, really interesting.
And that pre-season was so fucking hard.
Oh, mate, hard.
I was like, what the fuck is going on here?
I don't regret.
I can't do. I'm no good in the gym. Like, I'm trying to do these gym sessions. I'm like, fucking hell. Just get me out there with the footy. Like, that's all I can do.
I was the opposite. I was just like, let's get in the gym. I don't want to go out there. I don't want to go out on the pitch. It's too hard. No, it's good. It's good, mate. I'm not regretting it at the moment when you see all the boys going back for pre-season. And,
I know.
Are you playing VFL this year?
So I've decided to have a year off.
Hey,
First time ever. First time since I can remember.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just having a rest.
You're going to have to keep fit though, man. Do you know what's a really big thing is like when you're so used to something for a while, and this really hit me hard, like this is advice for when you retire prematurely, is you go from like being a super fit person to not working anymore. You can get like really down on yourself and you sort of blow out a little bit and like you just feel shit because you're not in your routine of working, you don't prioritize it. So I'd say like you've got to hit you got to pound the pavement, you got to get back in the gym and do those things because I didn't for like 12 months and I got so fucking sedentary and just flat. Like
that's funny you're touching on that because like whenever I used to train, I always used to associate like running with like I have to do this for football. Yeah. Therefore, I hated it. I didn't like doing, the 3Ks and all that sort of stuff. I hated that stuff. But at the moment, I actually have been doing a bit of running just for the sake of running. Like I put like some music in and I just run and I actually am enjoying it.
It's good
because like I know like I'm not doing this to like dominate a time trial. Like I'm just running for the sake of running.
Yeah, running for your own, like, clear your head.
Legit. It is so good. You're so right. Like when you run, like I don't know, the endorphins and all that sort of stuff, like they kick in. Like you can have a real hard day, like looking on your computer all day and you can go out there, run in the nature for a little bit and you're like, oh, fuck, like I feel pretty good.
I know.
So
I know. Man, we were talking about before, but I'm sort of I'm wearing the hokers at the moment. I don't know if that's how you say it, hockers or hokers.
I pronounce the hocker.
Hocker?
The hocker.
I don't know, but I'm wearing them and I'm sort of trying to bring them into like a bit of a street, like people do it.
I like it. I think it like goes with your aesthetic.
Thank you. So I'm wearing like my chinos, my hokers, and then I'm wearing a push-pull vest and I'm feeling cool, but also what we do in the studio, because we're trying to like push each other work out a bit more, is like when I wear my runners to work, I'm more inclined to go for a run or go to the gym.
I love that.
At that time. So we've been really cool. Hey, you know what's interesting?
I'm have to bring that. Is that all right if I trademark? If you've got that trademark?
No, you can do that.
Can I bring that into the office?
Do it to the mate.
I'll do it. I'll get Georgie in there,
mate. It's really
do you know
good.
What? He's got 2 pairs of the hockers.
Does he really?
Yeah.
He likes the hockers.
He likes the hockers.
Hocker George. Okay, that's interesting, mate. The hockers are greght. They're really.
I'm gonna have to. We'll have to maybe put them on the company card.
Yeah,
and get
I got the Cliftons. Funny story actually. I've not meant to say that. I went to the other day. I was I've needed a new pair of runners.
Yeah.
And for me as well, we spoke about a bit of anxiety stuff before, but I also get anxious. You know, a lot of people do. Yeah. That's how it works. And I was in probably pretty bad spot for myself.
Yeah.
And I was like, a big thing for me that helps is running.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? A bit of retail therapy. I'm going to go get myself a new pair of runners to motivate myself to get out there and get back into running. So I went down to Vic Gardens in Richmond.
With the big IKEA up there.
Yeah.
The $3 meatballs.
Yeah.
Is it the $1 meatballs?
Well, I like the veggie ones. The veggie balls.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But they're nice. Yes. And I went in there. I went to Rebel. I was like, fuck, there's nothing. There was just like, it must be not it doesn't have anything that good in there.
Vic Gardens a bit, what do you reckon?
Anyway, and I was walking through Vic Gardens and then I went to Athlete's Foot.
Yeah.
And I was in there and I was like, fuck, there's some hockers in there. This is going to be great.
Yeah.
And I was like, because I'm like, I could care less how comfy they are. I need them to look good, you know? So I was like, I don't want the big black bulky ones or these. I need something that looks cool. I want them, and then I'll run more.
Yeah.
So I went in there and she's like, oh, can you walk on the machine? I was like, oh, fuck, man, I don't really want to walk on the machine. You know, like I was in a shopping centre, like on my lunch break, having an anxiety attack, walking in, you know, like they're trying to see my gait of my foot.
The
like,
arches and all that
like
stuff.
Measuring up. And I'm like, oh, if someone fucking sees me right now, this is so embarrassing. Like I'm just in full like jeans, jumper, everything, walking in the middle of Vic Gardens on a treadmill.
Yeah.
Anyway, got my gait, got my shoe size, got my arch support, and she said, these are going to be great for you. I tried them on and got them, and they have been really cool.
And they're the ones you're wearing right now?
They're the ones I'm wearing right now.
They look so good.
So, yeah, they're comfy as. So
I like
I'm wearing
what's that, neutral, it's a bit of a grey.
Yeah.
It's actually...
It's like really a bluey...
Like
it's like a...
it's like a bluey grey.
Yeah, they're called
the
Hocker Clifton
tones.
Yeah, they're nice. I really like them, but it's interesting. Anyway, I don't know where I was going with that story, but I like the shoes. Sorry, Darcy. He's looking at me like I hate me too, mate. Don't worry, it's okay. Mate, let's talk about it a little bit. I think would be really cool to do is I want to treat this as like a bit of a 101 sort of segment for anyone listening out there around if they wanted to go out and just create something.
Yeah.
Okay. Stripe, you know, we'll talk about push pull and maybe if it needs me to jump in on certain parts to talk about the podcast, wherever that's happened. But talking about starting a business with friends. Yeah. 101. What are some do's? What are some don'ts that you'd straight away? You know, it's a tough thing starting business with friends.
Yeah.
Oh, but it's successful as well.
I can attest to that. Like I know I've had a bit of strife with that this year as well. Like broke up with my ex, not girlfriend, but business partner. As well, which was super. It was actually around the time that I decided to leave football as well.
Wow.
So it was like compounding stress, like anxiety. Yeah, it was really hard. And I just want to say like I'm super grateful for like George, who is now my business partner as well. He was a massive rock, and also my girlfriend as well, who just want to give him a quick shout out because like I wouldn't be here as well without them. Yeah, I was in some dire straits, but yeah, they really did help me through it. So super grateful, but definitely starting. If you're passionate about something, you should definitely go for it and don't worry about like the logistics of everything straight away. Just know that you have a vision and your heart's in the right place, and then from there try to, like for me, like I just decided to rip the Band-Aid off. Like I didn't have a lot of money and I just invested it straight away into this screen printing press, and any second free I had, I just YouTube, I learned, I trialed, I failed. We're talking about failure, and like I just improved so quickly. So like it's good to say like what you want to do, but like actually do it. Like that's something that I can attest to. It's like, you know, have a plan of what you want to do and then prioritize what you need to get done and just slowly start ticking away at it. You don't need to be Virgil Abloh Off-White in a day. You just need to be the better version of yourself the next day. You just need to be able to do what you couldn't do that day the next day. That's something that I really have learned. Yeah.
Would you sell your first T-shirt you ever created or first tote bag you ever created? Would that get a run on the Push-Pull website today?
It's a good question. That's a really good question. I'm a bit weird though, so I didn't mind that sort of stuff I was doing as well.
Okay, that's good.
Like, yeah, okay. I reckon it would get a run.
That's good.
So it would get a run.
Good, because what I was more meaning with that is like, it's you nearly would need to. Well, you're not because you're stylish, maybe, but nearly don't wait for something, the perfect thing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so embarrassed I say this all the time, I'm so embarrassed by my first sort of 10 episodes because they're like, it's hardly a thing, that they go for like 13 minutes, they're a bit cringy, or they're extremely cringy. And it's like, if you're not embarrassed by your business when you first started it, you started too late.
Yeah, I think maybe you could be my mentor. Like I like just throw, I don't know, maybe maybe you could be the mentor. I like just, because for me as well, like I don't know, like I just say things, but like I don't have someone to like connect the dots.
We can connect them together.
I'd love you.
There you go.
I'd love for you to help. But what you were just saying there, 100% makes sense. It's like, if I look back at what we first started doing, it's not what I'd like to be doing right now.
Yes.
So therefore, like, I probably wouldn't release it now. But like those things
At the time,
get me to where I am now. So I'm like grateful for those things, and I wouldn't change those things. So yeah, you like what you just said then is 100% like 100% correct. Yes.
Love it.
I find it hard to like give advice because I don't actually have a blueprint. Like I don't know like what I'm doing. So it's like sort of hard to like give advice. You know what I mean?
I think that's the most beautiful thing though, man. Like that's actually the best part about it is, I've had like a half of a bloke in a bar and I don't want this to sound too like inspirational or anything, which it isn't, but if anyone fucking pretends like they know what they're doing, they're lying. Yeah. No one has any idea. Yeah. Like if I tried to do the same thing again, it wouldn't work. Yeah. So it's just like all about exactly like you said, just getting started, following the momentum and just keep going.
100%. But yeah, I think but in what you're saying is like in getting started, a piece of advice that I'd give is like, try to be like organized with what you're doing as well. Because that actually, for us in the past, like we would go into doing things like really unorganized, and then you're almost in a room and it's pitch black and you're getting hit and you don't know where it's coming from. Whereas now, like we're still like not organized gods, but like we're a little bit more organized where like we've got this nice ring light on. It's still like black everywhere, but like you're still going to get hit, but you can sort of see a little bit more. And that's due to like organization, I guess, and like trying to plan around like for us like drops and getting samples in earlier so that we're not stressed, because the aim of the game with like clothing is like there's a lot of stress because there's not a lot here in Melbourne that you can control because a lot of the stuff's coming overseas. Yep. We're not heavily massive in manufacturing here in Australia and Melbourne per se, and hopefully that changes. It'd be so cool for the day when, you know, hopefully some big factories come up. Maybe it's a future push-pull thing.
There we go.
Down in the works there.
Hey, but don't tease that.
But you know, it's definitely that's something that Ed's brought along, and I guess he's a real serious guy where he's very organised from his footy days, and that structure that he's brought that in to sort of help us get almost like a quarter ahead of what we're doing. Yeah. And it's not to say like if you're just starting that you need to know what you're doing a year ahead, but the more organised you can get, it will help your path, you know, go a little bit more smoother. Yep. That's I don't know if that's any fuck, I can't even speak.
No, that makes sense.
I don't even know if that's helpful, but like that, I know for me that's helped me a lot. So,
well, mate, like in context to what we did, like we used to record an episode and then release it that week, and then I was like, well, why don't we just fucking try and get like 3 weeks in advance so we're not stressing about getting something out, and you're just constantly in this battle of like going bang, bang, bang. And if you need to stop for a week and just regroup, like 100%. You're better off doing that than putting out subpar things you're not happy with.
100%. I totally agree. It's also like for us that we're learning now as well is like putting the time into like any idea as well actually helps the idea come out really well. So it's like in the past we'd come up with like a skit or like a video and we'll just do it like on the fly, and we're sitting there and we're like, you almost like bicker because you like want it to go well, but it's like, oh, I want it to look like this. And now we just like legit, like you're saying, like in advance, we sit down, we've got like a video idea, we brainstorm it, we plan like different angles and how it could look, and therefore we attack it on the day, and it's not like any stress on the day. You just go out and you do it. That's something that we have found helps a lot and reduces stress.
Yeah, no, definitely. There's another part, just been thinking about this while we've been talking as well, and more just of something that I've just been reflecting on the whole time, is where you look at push-pull now. It's not like maybe, I'm not saying that people would assume this, but maybe some people look like they just went together and started this business push-pull and it's just gone great. But you think about it like, you'll flip and choose probably on Facebook Marketplace, like I'm assuming. Then you go to Camberwell Market, you build this store. Then you go to this, you start this. Then it gets into push-pull.
Yeah.
And I look at my own little career like that too, and it's like I was playing footy, doing like club stuff for Carlton Footy Club. Went to do a club podcast with a girl that worked at the club. Got delisted, went to Sydney and did radio with Triple M, went there every Tuesday night. Then went and started my own podcast from there. So it's like there was so many failed businesses on the way that got to the next one.
100%.
And sometimes I think maybe Dyl Friends is the stepping stone for the next thing.
100%.
Which I don't know. Maybe that's true. So maybe it's the same as you guys.
Could have been more grains.
Yeah, well, it will be, which is exciting, which is a big one. Hey, something I'd love to talk about with you as well, because this is something that's really helped me, I suppose. And when I probably talking about Dyl Friends here and Producey, the business that supports all of the podcasts that we do, is what's been really great is with myself and the team is like we've really identified, and I've never really spoken about this on the pod, and would definitely go into it deeper if people were interested, but around the roles that people play.
Yeah.
And I've got a business partner in Adam Baldwin with Producey, who he started off being a mentor of mine. We went to the same school. He's he's about 7-8 years older than me, but was like a mentor, helping me with Dyl Friends. Then we sort of identified that we could turn this into a business, and that's how it worked. And he's a very how do I say it? Analytical business. He's so good at like meetings and structuring and note taking and business development and all these like incredible things that like the business, we wouldn't even be doing what we do without it. But then he lets me play my role, and I can go out and build relationships with people, bring clients in, work with brands, and maybe bring stuff in like that. So I think there's a really important role in that. And then we've got the big D-bomb over here in the corner, who's just the wizard on.
He's looking good in that push-pull.
He is looking good in the push-pull
as well. It looks good.
He is, he's one of the best videographers in Australia. He loves his editing. He loves doing his more green stuff. Sam, executive producer, who just puts stuff together. So I think it's nearly a footy team.
Yes.
Like just getting your roles. You can't have 6 big blokes just going in and punching the
100%.
footy. Sometimes you need your forward pockets, your halfback flankers, 100%. And working out what does what. So how does that work for you?
100%. That's something that I guess we early days struggled with. Was what roles people play, and I guess with that came along with a bit of ego, and I guess early days push pull. There was a lot of egos going around and I wanted to go in this direction, that direction. There's a lot of headbutting. And I think what the team right now, what we've done really well is strip it right back and realize that push-pull is its own entity. It's its own living being. That's how we like to address it now. It's not I'm the owner. It's not George is the owner. It's not Ed's the owner. It's push-pull is push-pull, and we're just cogs in the machine now that work for push-pull. That's how we see it.
Yeah, it's like a footy club.
Legit. And that's how why I value football so much is because I've learned so much from football that I've been able to tie it back into
It's very interesting.
Back into push-pull. But now we've really been able to identify roles and what people love to do in the business, and from there we've just allowed this awesome organic ability for the people in push-pull to flourish. We've got George, who I would probably say is the heart and soul of push-pull, 100%. He is just the biggest heart, the biggest energy you'd ever meet. I know you've met him a few times, and he just loves life, and he's been through a lot of things in his own journey, and I'm super proud of him of where he's at right now. But he does the social media, and he's in charge of that, and he's just flourished from where he's come from to where he is now. We're talking about unformally trained. He wasn't formally trained in social media at all, and now he's the person who probably has gotten us to 33,000 followers. Do you know what I mean? And he always replies back to everyone on Instagram.
It's unbelievable.
I love what he always says. He says he doesn't see the 33,000 followers as, I'll probably get his saying wrong, but he doesn't see the 33,000 followers as just a number. He sees them as he envisions them as being in a room, and he's in a room with 33,000 people, and he wants to give them as much of himself that they deserve. Like, we go on Instagram and it's just numbers, like you follow this person, that person. But he really actually, I don't know how he does it, but he strips it back and tries to get in there like as if he's in a room with them all. And kudos to him. Like, I love him to bits. He's more than like a brother to me.
That's unbelievable.
Sometimes, he even says like we're in like a relationship a bit. So it's weird. But, I love him so much and I'm super proud of what he's doing. Ed's like, recently come on board as well. And he's doing some really, really beautiful things. He's helped really steer the ship into the direction that we'd love Push-Pull to go. We've got all these ideas, but then like, how do we prioritize what we need to do? How do we structure things? He's really brought a level of professionalism and he's really pushing us into the direction that Push-Pull needs to go. We've also got Dylan Walsh. I don't know if you know him. He does Garden State Journal.
I've spoken to him and stalked all his content. He's incredible. One of the greats.
He's unbelievable.
Check that page out as well,
check
guys.
it out.
It's unbelievable.
Garden State Journal. He's an
on
absolute,
Instagram, TikTok.
Yes, absolute gun. He's working with us now a couple of days a week and he's taking Push-Pull to the next level. Like we're going through a different phase of like not branding, but like how we're going to promote our garments. We really want to present our garments to be not massive graphics, but more like quality garments that can last a length of time. And with this transition, we just thought like we need someone who can, give the value to what we're doing. So he's the person who's doing that job and he's doing really, really, really well. And then, I just do all the creative stuff and I guess I try to be like a leader, like for everyone. Like I really try to like make sure that everyone's accommodated, that everyone's loving what they're doing, that everyone's voice is heard. I'm really proud of like my growth in that role as well. And I'm super proud of everyone in the team. So I guess like that's sort of, I don't know, I've cool. just gone on for like a bit of a whirlwind there.
It's interesting. To give even context to this, I literally remembered it as soon as we started talking about it. I saw this post on Instagram the other day, which is incredible. And I'm going to actually I can't believe I've got this ready because I never have these things ready. It's from Sahil Bloom. And it said, excuse me, I recently came across data who we spend our time with over the course of our lives. The insights are simultaneously inspiring and depressing. Here are 6 graphs everyone needs to see. So this is going to scare Darcy a lot. But basically, I'll post this up. And it says like time spent with family basically means peaks in childhood and declines after age of 20. Then it's time spent with friends, peaks at 18 and declines sharply to a low baseline at around 30.
Yeah.
Time spent with partner, so that sort of stays steady from once you get to that 25, 30 and stays steady for the rest of your life, hopefully. Yeah. Time spent with children, so that's like from ages 33 to 48 that you spend time with them. Time spent with co-workers was the most time that you will ever spend. And Darcy, this is where I didn't want to say it in front of him, he's really worried with this, but it says you will spend a lot of time at work. And I don't think we realise how much time we actually spend. So it came up like with a summary of basically all these things. It said, number one, family time is limited, cherish it, which is really scary when you think about it, but it's something you need to think about, like how much you can, how much you love your parents and love your family, but you have to cherish those moments with them. Friend time is limited, like prioritise the real ones. Don't like fuck around with people that you don't have time for. And the older you get, the more you realise that. Small circles, big checks. You know what I mean? That's what you want. Partner in crime is significant. Never settle for someone that you're not happy with. That's like one of the biggest things. Like I know how incredible my relationship is. I know from speaking to you a lot about your situation with your partner, how incredible she is for you. So I think anyone out there within a relationship, make sure that is like
100%.
You just 100%. Can't. That's one thing I've always been strong with mates from both sexes on. Like if you don't think it's right, it probably isn't. So like you got to fucking don't settle, because there's not one day I wake up going, I don't know about this. Yeah. So I don't want anyone else to have it.
That's cool.
Children time is precious. Be present. I don't have kids yet, but I'm sure that I will hopefully be present in that. And then the big one here, which we're talking about with business and work and being able to be in your space, it says co-worker time is significant. Find energy. Yeah. Like you think you nearly spend the most time in your life with people you work with.
Yeah.
How
it's
crazy is
crazy.
that, man?
And what's funny what you're saying that is like I see those people as like my best friends though.
Yeah.
Like they're probably like my closest knit group of people that like I could rely on. Like if I was in struggle, like I would call George or Ed like straight away. But yeah, that's really funny that like that is.
You just don't realise it. Like,
100%
when you think about it, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, it's nearly the people you're going to be around the most.
And it's so true. Like, yeah, you need to really like, that's something as well. You need to really like invest and have those similar values to make sure that not only that your relationship's going to continue to flourish and grow, but also that you guys are going to, like, that the team's going to grow with the brand as well.
Yeah.
And that you're doing everything for the right reasons and not like what I was talking about for egos before. That's what it used to be like. And now we've switched and yeah, that's cool. That's really cool. And could you send me that?
I will send you that. That's other
really
one
cool
as well that's interesting on that point is like, that doesn't mean, and it's great that you have that relationship with people and I do as well, but that doesn't mean go and find 5 best mates and work together, because sometimes that's actually not the best thing for you. Like
100%.
You need to surround yourself with people that challenge you. Like we do have some robust discussions here. Like sometimes we don't speak to each other on the weekend because we're pissed off with shit that happened throughout the week. So you want to have those times where it's people that you absolutely love, but you really respect to keep you honest on certain things.
How do you like deal with like managing the team and like putting your energy in allowing people to flourish? Do you know what I'm trying to say?
I do.
And then have that ability to like be accountable and be like, if something's not getting done, you need to get it done. But like, I feel like you're that person as well who's like, you just want people to like have the best time and feel really welcomed and feel like they're a part of what you're doing. But then it's like, how do you deal with like, if something's not getting done, can you flick a switch and go like, oh, this needs to be done? Or do you still like do the compliment sandwich or like?
Mate, that's a great question. And to be honest, it comes back to what you said earlier. Like, I'm still working that out now.
Yeah.
Like that's been something for me this year that's been the biggest challenge. For sure. Like I never thought that I'd be like running a business. That's for sure. Especially when you're working with friends. Yeah. It is really hard. And I think I'm just really lucky at the moment that I work with people that are just, if not more driven than me. So that's a really good part. But to be honest, like a lot of the time it goes both ways. Like they're pulling me into line. But there is times where you're going to have, those conversations. But I think the biggest thing that I've learnt with that scenario is like, it's how you deliver the message, where you deliver the message, and if it comes from a good place or it's coming from ego. Like I'm a very emotional person as well, and I've identified that because of a lot of things that have arisen in the past in terms of these sorts of things. And I just know straight away, if it's something that's emotional, I need to give myself a 24-hour rule where I don't react on something straight away. And it's like, give me 24 hours, let me calm down, and then we have the conversation the next day. But I
have a question as well.
Go.
How do you, when you're in the moment and like you have that urge of emotion, how do you talk yourself out of like acting on that emotion straight away? Like, do you have things in place that actually allow you to, like, do you have something like a trigger or toes or a trigger that actually goes like, I need to sit back on this for 24 hours? Because like that's something that I want to get better at. And like I actually struggle with sometimes because I'm a real emotional person, and sometimes like the emotion comes across as like anger, but it's like it's coming from the right place. It's just like, how do you then like go like in that moment go, I just need it. Like, what do you do?
Well, I think it just comes from fucking up, really. Like, it comes from realising it, having conversations, asking people how that made other people feel when you weren't as probably you weren't as clear thinking, because sometimes when you make emotional decisions, they're always wrong, really. Because you're acting out on emotion. You're not acting out on what's actually clear.
100%.
So I think for me that's been a big one, but the way I've learned it isn't through like a trigger. It's just through going like, all right, this has happened in the past, it hasn't worked out well. And also my other business partner Bordy is very good at giving me feedback on he'll see me sort of getting into that part, and he knows when to help me sort of check myself.
That's cool.
Which has been a good one. But yeah, it's something that, to be honest, I don't have it worked out yet. Like I'm still trying to work it out, but I just know that it is a big one. Like one thing for me that's been really hard is like I like to think that my intentions are always good, and when someone questions that, that's something that really that hurts. So that's when like I'll often bite back, whether that's with different scenarios in everything, but it's tough. It's a tough part of it, but that's life, really, isn't it? It's just like fucking like exactly that.
It's cool. It's cool to hear that from you as well. Like it just shows another level to you as well. I guess like people will probably see you as this person, but you're a normal human as well who have these emotions and sometimes emotions are just so hard to like, you act on them, but like they might not come from the right place but like. I don't even know if I'm fucking making sense here, but like it's just cool to hear that from you as well. Like someone I look up to you as well, and it's like, oh, you go through things that I go through, but like I look up to you. But like in saying that, we're still on the same level of like we've got emotions and the way we act on them, and like the way we need to learn from them, and like the failure. Like it's cool to really cool to hear. Yeah.
Do you know what the coolest thing is? Like this shows like where your life partner comes in. Like I speak about Giles a lot, and I can't talk too much because it gets too. I've cried multiple times in here about it. But we'll get home sometimes, and she waits for me to calm down. It's like the end of the day, and we'll be like alone in bed, or in the morning. She like waits. She like just knows like when I'm like ready to talk to her. And she goes, "Oh, when you said something today in the office?" She goes, "You probably should do that better next time. Like, I don't reckon you did that like well." And I was like, "Oh my God." Like she just cuts through me. Like that's cool. She always she's just so clear on and so clear and so calculated with everything she does. She's very unemotional. She's very she's got so much clarity on things, and that's why like we work. So when I talk about life partners, she's just incredible for me, man, because we work so well together. Like I think I can spur her on to like make spontaneous decisions and just fucking go for it. But then also she's that one that can bring me back down to bring us back down and go into it. So when I talk about that, like she's one that gives me so much feedback on certain things. She'll be like, you can't do that. You can't speak to people like that, or you can't do this, you can't do that. And she'll always bring it back in.
That's so cool. It's like, that's like pretty similar with like my girlfriend as well. Like if I've done something that she like doesn't agree with, like she doesn't like just like, go at you. She'll like wait and like be patient and do it in a really like humbling way. Yeah. But then you actually feel like fuck, like I needed, like I've fucked up here, or like I've done something I've attacked something in a different way that she would have attacked it in, and gives you sort of clarity on like on that thing of like continuously growing and learning and seeing different perspectives and trying to accommodate from those, and like taking that step back and going, oh, she sees it in that way. Like, how can I accommodate to like, try to work on it? And because that's what it is. It's a partnership, and you have to be able to be, what's the word? Not manipulative, but like, not manipulative, sorry. Like, what's the word?
Transparent?
Like, transparent, but like that you're able to be, I fucking forgot the word. It's like, it's like if you're like, it's like a river, and it like you flow on with the river, but like something comes in and like the river will still flow, but like
you got to be like translucent.
Maybe that's the word.
I think that's the word. I feel like that could be the word.
That might be the word.
Something that just,
maybe let's just cut that one.
No, I like that one. That one.
I like you talking about your wife as well.
She's great.
And
the last bit on, to be honest, this is just a really cool chat, regardless. I hope people are getting stuff out of it, but it's been really good for me, is the last thing I will say about the part around working with a team, and something that I realised this year, not that I was like, trying to micromanage or anything, but I think when you can start a business, you try and be across everything. Yeah. And as soon as people were like, mate, just fucking let me do my thing. Like I know what I'm doing. Yeah. I thought back to like when I was playing foot, I was like, mate, I know what I'm fucking doing. Like stop doing this. But you do it because you think you're trying to support people.
100%.
But sometimes you're like, you just got to let people do their shit. And then if they need you, they come back and do it. So that was just one more bit where I was like, you just got to trust.
100%. That's a massive thing. Trust to get it done. Huge. Yeah.
A bit of a pivot quickly before I know you've got some things to do. You're a very busy man. The one thing that has been really interesting seeing like push-pull come along and is the part of like, a lot of you've obviously inspired a lot of other people to start, clothing brands and imitating sort of similar things to you do, whether that's like, everything. Yeah. How does that like sit with you in a way?
I don't know, it's kind of nice like that people, I guess, look up to you and want to try to replicate what you're sort of doing as well. So That's something that we find as well is kind of sad here in Melbourne, especially, is like that tall poppy syndrome where no one really wants to help anyone. And in saying that, like, I know transparently, like we want to help. We want to help as many people as we can. And if people were able to obtain some sort of reference point from us or some sort of inspiration, like 100% run with it, because, you know, like for us, we didn't really have any blueprints or anyone to really speak to. And if we can be that vehicle for people and other little brands, like 100% go for it. We're always open. We always want to help. So yeah, it's nothing to be like angry about or, they're doing this or that. Like, go for it. Like, you know, there's so many people in this world. There's so many people here in Melbourne that, you know, we can all share and we can all grow together, you know. If we help someone and they grow, that helps us grow as well.
Yeah.
So that's something that is really special, and that's something that, you know, talking at the start about values, that's something that we really value, is actually being transparent about wanting to help others.
Yeah.
And, you know, we can say it and I can say it, but I hope people out there know that we are 100% genuine, and I think people know that as well.
That's awesome, man. Like, you couldn't answer that better, and I thought that would be the answer, and I just wanted to add on to that. If anyone was thinking what I thought of it too, in terms of podcasting stuff, like I came across. I think for me, like, if you get a message from someone saying like, mate, because of this, I started a show, like, that is like nearly the most fulfilling thing
100%.
Of all time for someone to do that. And whether that's, you know, seeing young kids or anyone, any single person starting a clothing brand or a podcast, it's like nearly the coolest thing you can do, because in a way that you've made that somewhat feel that they could do it, which they obviously are, and that they'd be dominating and opening up another pathway to someone that they didn't know. And I think another part of it as well is the fact that you didn't fucking create clothing. I didn't create podcasting. No. You've gotten inspiration from someone before and copied elements of people. 100%. I've done the exact same thing. There's a guy named Joe Rogan that does this, and he's sort of pretty good at it. Yeah. Not that, you know, it's a very different show, but you just have elements from different people. So at the end of the day, we're all fucking 100%. Copying.
Everything's already been created.
Yeah.
It's just the way that you interpret something and manipulate it into your own energy and your own style. Do you know what I mean?
100%. A quote I love, and I actually looked it up this time because I always get it wrong, is a rising tide lifts all boats. And the way I interpret that is just like the more, the merrier.
Yeah.
Like the more people doing good things, the more it's going to spread. And even what, you know, I've found a little bit, which I love about the connection with you guys at Push Pull and our relationship, is like, I hope that, you know, we can maybe have been a bit of a starting point for younger people to 100%. Look at and go like, fuck, these guys have collabed together. They don't see each other as competitors. They just see each other as people that they respect 100%. Doing the same shit. And then, you know, then other people can do the same stuff as well.
100%. Well, you know, you're a testament to it. Like, I remember it would have been a couple of months ago, we were asking for some help on like a podcast, and you were like, let's like brainstorm some stuff, and you're really open and transparent. And from that there, like we want to do everything we can to help you and your aspirations with, you know, your other ventures in clothing and stuff like that as well. So, yeah, it's really special, this, you know, new relationship, I guess, we're creating. And I'm super grateful to, you know, help you, and I'm also really grateful that you're helping us as well.
Yeah,
so
huge.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Let's hug after this. There's going to be.
We're going straight for the hug.
No, we're going in.
I like move the chair back.
Yeah, you were right. Oh, you were ready.
I was ready.
We'll get there. Don't worry. No, it's awesome, mate. I really do appreciate it. Love what you guys are doing. Love your story. There's plenty more. And as we said, I think, you know, you guys, George, Ed, yourself, you'd be staples of the community now, as much as hopefully I can be of yours. And we've got a few cool things in the works. Obviously,
100%.
Some push pull, more greens, a little golf day that we're planning in 2023, which will be very exciting. We'll tease that one. I'm sure that'd be pretty cool for the communities to get out and have some fun, and plenty of crossover, plenty of shared values. But at the end of the day, just people trying to have a good time and inspire 100%. Other people. So I appreciate it, man. I hope people have learned. I know people will have learned a lot from your story today. Congratulations on what you've done. I keep saying like we're young. Like you're 24. I'm nearly 30, man. I'm 29. So like, I'm like your dad, basically.
Well, you can. I said, do you want to be my mentor?
No.
Do you want to be the push pull mentor?
No, mate.
Help us.
You guys are way ahead of me.
No way. No, we don't know what we're doing.
Neither do we. I think that's a secret. Thanks for your time today, brother. We'll plenty more of these to come.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you.